Hi everybody, I am Dr. Harry. Welcome to Dr. Harry's Healthy Corner. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about stress and heart health. And I know we've all heard that stress is bad for us and it's bad for our heart, and we've heard the stress causes this and stress causes that and stress causes all of these things. But what we want to talk about today is perhaps some ways to counteract that stress and find out, really, is all stress bad? So we want to approach it a little bit differently today. Now, we know that stress is often called a fight or flight response. It's basically something dangerous shows up and we are deciding, we are getting ready to either fight or run away. And so what happens is our heart starts racing, and so that way we can get more blood to the muscles and to the brain. And also what happens is that we start breathing more quickly, so we're oxygenating better. And so we might start feeling clammy or sweaty or nauseous or get that pit in our stomach that many of us talk about. And so after the event is over, the idea is that everything goes back to normal and you recover. Most of us know in today's world, however, that stress seems to be more consistent and persistent, and it's not necessarily always about fighting or running away, and it may be circumstances that we cannot change. So we know stress is bad for us, but we also know that there are things we cannot change about the actual stressor itself. So what do we change? We change how we respond to it. And I'm going to tell you why that's important. I'm going to tell you why we need to address some of those things around stress. So stress for me has always been something that if you're faced with and you feel that you're not able to do anything and you start feeling helpless and trapped, that is very stressful. If you start feeling that perhaps you are prepared for that stressor and you've done everything that you can to prepare for it, and whatever happens, you will be able to handle it. It puts you more in control and you feel less stress. And actually, studies are supporting that. Studies are saying if you approach stress as, no matter what happens, I'm able to take care of it. And if you start viewing those signals in your body, such as the racing heartbeat and the breathing fast and the clamminess and the sweatiness, if you start viewing that as your body preparing to handle the situation at hand and knowing that you're capable, or feeling that you're capable of handling it, that response seems to be, at least according to studies, more friendly to the body. So what happens with stress, and what we're really concerned about with stress, is that everything clamps down, right? So blood vessels clamps down, so blood pressure goes up. Blood vessel clamps down, so blood flow to the brain over time will decrease. Initially, it increases blood flow, but then over time, if it stays constricted, that blood flow to the brain decreases, and so we become foggy, and we start becoming not able to think clearly. So you can see where those things start happening. But during stress, we talk about hormones that are secreted. And so we know the stress hormone. Everybody knows this one. It's cortisol. It's cortisol. Yes, it is cortisol. And adrenaline is secreted as well. And many of us are familiar with that. And so those are the things that cause a significant amount of our symptoms. But did you know that there's a hormone called oxytocin? And for those of us who've heard of oxytocin, it's the love hormone. It's the hormone that's secreted that helps us to bond. It helps with that loving bond. And for women, it's especially important because our oxytocin levels, it really goes up when we're around our girlfriends, etc. And oxytocin has been shown to have several effects. And so it protects the brain cells from the effects of stress. We do know that it does that. It actually protects the brain cells from experiencing depression. We know that it does that. But a curious thing about oxytocin is that it also impacts the heart. And so when we hear about stress on the heart and how stress is bad for the heart, it's when we think about that, oxytocin may actually help to protect the heart. So believe it or not, during the stress response, oxytocin is secreted. And you're going, that doesn't make any sense, because why is oxytocin secreted then? Well, I'll tell you why. Because what oxytocin is doing is nudging us to reach out to people around us. It's nudging us to perhaps have some girlfriend time. It's nudging us to have some social output. It's nudging us to actually, instead of doing a lot of times where what we instinctively feel like doing, when we feel overwhelmed and stressed, we instinctively want to withdraw, we instinctively want to be by ourselves. It is telling us that the best way to handle that situation is to reach out to others. So oxytocin encourages us to do that. And interestingly, when we do that and we start having some girlfriend time and some social time and a place where we feel safe and nourished, oxytocin levels go up even further. And this is why that is important for the heart. I'm going to tell you, this is super exciting. The heart has receptors on it, and the heart responds to oxytocin. So guess what oxytocin does to the heart? It decreases blood pressure. It actually helps the heart to remodel. It actually helps the heart cells to oxygenate more. And it may actually help us to reduce our risk of heart disease when oxytocin acts on the heart. So we have a built-in mechanism. The body has built in that mechanism. So we just have to learn to activate that mechanism. So we know other things that can help with stress, of course, are things like exercising, because it makes us more resilient. We know meditation, for example, can make us more resilient. And meditation can just be communing with something that you feel is just opening up yourself and being mindful. But also meditation may be prayer. Also meditation may be taking a walk in nature. Meditation looks very different to different people. And then mindfulness simply means being aware of the sensations, noticing what is happening. And oftentimes when we become aware in that curious way, then a lot of the power of that stressor is removed. So today, that's really what I wanted to talk about, the power of oxytocin, that love hormone that's actually secreted in stressful situations as well, may be a gift that our body is giving us during those times. And if we can learn to activate the power of that hormone, then we may be able to handle our stresses a little better. And the other thing is that studies show that when we feel that we are in control, so if we take those stressful emotions and start thinking of them as something that is getting us amped up and prepared to handle that stressor. You know, stress and excitement sometimes can feel very much alike. You're super excited about something, you're super stressed. They can feel very much alike, but the body responds differently in health-wise to excitement, because it's something that you're looking forward to, something that you know that you have control over. So again, I usually don't want to make these very long. That is what I wanted to say today about stress and the heart. And next week, if you tell me what it is that you would like to hear about, then we'll have a conversation about that. So until next time, thank you for joining, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Oh, hi, Jackie. Glad to see that you were able to join me. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to join in next week. And if you have any ideas about topics, then feel free to share those as well. So until next time, bye-bye.